Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me for a look at your work week forecast for February, President's Week of February 22nd through the 25th. We got a ton going on this week. We got a high impact rain and wind event tonight with some potential for some freezing rain to get us started off earlier in the day today, or this afternoon, I should say. And then a chance at a significant snowstorm, maybe our biggest snowstorm of the winter so far, this Friday coming up. So lots going on, ton of maps to show you, a ton of things. So this is hopefully we're going to try to run through this in a reasonable amount of time, but this is going to take a little bit of time today. So first of all, here's our setup for today. This one storm would be enough to kind of call this a busy weather week. As we see, there's lots of moisture. This system has well-tapped moisture. We got real warm yesterday with the southwest flow, but a weak boundary layer did kind of settle through overnight to cool us off. Not like cold enough that we're going to have to worry about significant snow and really even significant freezing rain potential, but just enough so that if we get any freezing drizzle out ahead of when the main bulk of this moisture gets here, and there could be a breakout of a little bit of light precipitation this afternoon, we could still be marginal in some locations for some freezing drizzle, which could briefly cause difficult road conditions. So if you're headed out and you see it's drizzling, you got to be real careful. Make sure, first of all, that you know what the temperature is, and anytime you're changing elevation, make sure that you're real careful on the roads. This is the kind of conditions where you could be driving along just fine at a certain elevation. You go down a hill or up a hill a little bit, and all of a sudden the temperature drops below freezing, and roads get real slick real fast. So nothing to be panicking about this afternoon or anything like that. That's actually not the biggest part of the storm, but I do want you to be aware of it. That's the first piece. Then we do get into the bulk of moisture here that's going to come maybe in a couple of waves. But overnight, from just about evening time on, we're going to get some moderate to heavy rain overnight. Looks like about an inch of rain, not enough to cause any river flooding, and most of the ice got pushed out, although ice jams are still a small possibility in some places. But really, I would worry about the kinds of things that really happened with last week's storm, which is flooded basements and things like that, places where drains get clogged with ice, or for whatever reason, things don't move the way you would normally expect them to water-wise because there's snow and ice on the ground. And sometimes that means that basements that maybe don't normally get flooded, get some water in them and things like that. So you're just going to have to keep an eye on that and do what you can to try to clear any drainage ways around buildings or anything like that you can. So that's the first storm. We also have some significant wind with this storm. I don't think quite as much wind as out of the last storm, but similar amounts. I do think there's a possibility for a few scattered power outages. Wouldn't expect anything too widespread, but be prepared. Whenever a storm like this moves through, you should be prepared to lose power for up to 12 to 24 hours, hopefully not more than that for anybody. But just in case, you want to be prepared for that, which means, just have the things on hand you need to get through a few hours without power. And hopefully that won't happen this time like it did last week. For some of us, although most of us didn't lose power last week either. Most of us in my town did, but I didn't. But most of us in my town didn't. But most of you watching this didn't lose power last week, and hopefully that'll be the case on this storm as well. So let's see the upper level pattern. You actually see this is today's storm, and a lot of the storms, the last couple of storms have really been kind of dominated by this strong subtropical jet stream. The next storm will be as well, but the kicking energy for our next storm here is just coming onshore across the Pacific Northwest. This is for Friday's storm, and what will happen is instead of riding up to our west, the storm's going to ride up not nearly as far west, and then it looks like it's almost certainly going to transfer its energy offshore. And really, we've been locked in at snow on the models for a significant amount of time. It's not a complete lock-in yet. I do think there is. You never know. But right now, it's looking really good for us being all snow or on the northern, not fringe, but the northern edge of this. We'll be in the some of the heaviest snow that the storm gets, it looks like. And so for once, forecast with frozen precipitation in it this winter looks relatively locked in. Not going to give you a snowfall map yet. That's probably coming tomorrow morning with the forecast. But it does look, like I said, significant, definitely plowable. Probably our biggest snowfall of the winter, or about that, is what we're looking at for Friday. And I've got a bunch of details coming later in the forecast for that. So first of all, here's the setup for that storm by Wednesday. So as our storm is fully getting out of here, and we've got some breeze on the back end, this boundary layer sets up much further south than it's been. And you can see this low pressure system kind of on the tail end of what's left over of the boundary that the last storm just rode up, starts to develop across the desert southwest, and it's going to kind of head in that direction Wednesday overnight. And you can see instead of that flow being much more all the way up the coast, we do still have the southwest flow, but it's basically just keeping the southeast warm at this point, and we're cooling off significantly with the storm. So Thursday, we do start to get the storm to actually develop, and we start to move. This boundary that's been stationary starts to move forward, move north as a warm front. And out ahead of that warm front is where all the snow is going to happen. This basically is how every storm works. This is how the last few storms have worked. It's just that the warm front has been way so far north of us, and it's a slow-moving warm front. It's almost a stationary front. But so southern Quebec has gotten all the snow. This time it looks like a similar setup in some regards, but instead of southern Quebec getting the snow, we're going to get the snow here across the northeast. And there will be still a transition period that looks like it'll happen over southern New England. So if you're traveling here from, if you're traveling up from some of the big cities, you might have to go through a period of sleet and freezing rain before you get to where we are here in snow. Really, if you want to head up, Thursday would be the day to get here, not Friday. In terms of the storm track as it approaches us, Thursday, let me go over this side. It'll be a lot easier to see. So Thursday overnight, we've got the storm basically in Kentucky, and it's heading into Pennsylvania. And if this remained the dominant storm, we would probably see a change over here across southern Vermont as the storm kind of headed over the top of us. We'd end up in some sleet. But I think what's going to happen, what all the models are really predicting, what looks like it's the right setup for the upper level pattern by this point. Excuse me, oh my goodness. It looks like it's the upper level pattern for us. Is the storm is going to transfer its energy and redevelop off the coast, and then it's going to relatively rapidly develop Friday morning into Friday afternoon as a storm that takes basically a perfect track for us for snow, just southeast of New England, but pretty close to the coast. This will keep a lot of southern New England in mixed precipitation and some rain across southeastern Massachusetts, but it will keep us basically in all the snow and in the heaviest snow here. And a pretty good snow band will probably set up, and we'll probably be underneath that snow band on Friday. We'll get into the details of snow banding and things like that as we go. For the first storm, I want to show you a couple graphics I've got for that. Here's the wind. It looks similar to last week's windstorm issues, but you can see, again here, western-facing slopes, the higher terrain of basically Windham County looks like 45 to 55 miles an hour. That's where the power outages are more likely, although anywhere here in the yellow it's possible with those 45-mile-an-hour gusts that you could get them. I think you're sheltered by the Green Mountains a bit here in the Connecticut River Valley, and I think 25 to 35-mile-an-hour winds is what you're looking for there. In terms of freezing drizzle this afternoon, I think it's mostly a Windsor County issue, basically east of the Greens, and I do think you'll get enough warmth before we'd have any chance of it along up probably to Windsor or so as you head up 91. But if you're heading north of Windsor, if you're heading up into Hartford, Heartland, those areas, Thetford, you definitely have chances of freezing rains, and then you get more into interior Windsor County, certainly chances for some freezing drizzle. Again, I don't think this will be everywhere, won't be widespread, but if you're driving in one of those locations this afternoon and you notice a little bit of drizzle, just be real careful because it could be freezing as you go. So this will quickly change to all rain by this evening. When the heavy rain gets in here, it'll be all rain for everybody. Okay, let's get to forecast, and then we'll talk about the details for the two different storms as we go. Today, we're looking at freezing drizzle and then some light rain that will change into heavier rain and wind overnight. You can see temperatures are upside down today. We're 39 on average. We're actually starting off cooler this morning than this even, whereas we're down in the upper 20s. We'll kind of warm up throughout the day. Overnight, we continue to warm up into the 50s. Tomorrow morning, you wake up, you're about 51 degrees. When you first wake up, it's breezy. Temperatures drop all day. By the afternoon, we're in the 30s, even 20s by evening. We drop all the way back to about 10 degrees overnight. Tomorrow, we'll see probably the most sun of any day we see all week, and it won't be a lot of sun, but a few sunny breaks in the afternoon. A little bit of sun in the morning on Thursday, but then increasing clouds, highs of about 25 on Thursday. Light snow starts by sometime after midnight, Thursday into Friday. Temperatures about 22 degrees for your high with heavy snow on Friday. Travel is going to be tough on Friday, and then by Friday overnight, snow ends mostly in the afternoon, but by evening really ends, and we drop back down to around zero, particularly if we get any clear skies. I don't think we will. I think we'll stay cloudy, but about 0 degrees or so. It gets pretty cold on Friday night into Saturday. In terms of your outdoor activities, today is okay this morning if you want to get out there, but maybe even into the afternoon, but just be aware that you could get some drizzle by afternoon. Tomorrow is not a great day for outdoor activities, as even though it'll be warm in the morning, so if you want to go for a walk, that's fine, but skiing and things like that, it's going to be kind of a recovery day after the mess that comes through overnight. Thursday's a pretty good ski day after a night to recover and ability to make some snow days. And Friday is a powder day. Woohoo! Finally, a powder day. Haven't had too many of those this winter. Okay. Before I get to the details on these, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel before, I would encourage you to do so. And thanks for following these forecasts. So here we go on Tuesday and Wednesday with the storm details. Light freezing drizzle and freezing drizzle this afternoon. Heavy rain this evening overnight with chances for basement flooding. So if your basement sometimes floods, or even if it doesn't, but it could, night might be a night that it would. Strong winds between 9 p.m. and 2 a.m. with scattered power outages possible. Rain ends before dawn tomorrow. Temperatures drop all day during the day tomorrow, and then breezy conditions. It'll be breezy tomorrow, not damaging winds, but breezy throughout the day tomorrow. And then in terms of your Friday forecast, snow starts after midnight on Thursday night. Heaviest snowfall is probably Friday morning. We could easily have several hours where we're getting 1 inch to 2 inches of snow per hour. Snow ends by Friday evening. Travel is going to be real rough all day on Friday, and significant snow accumulations look likely. Okay, that's quite the forecast. I don't want to go any further. I will be back probably each day this week. Tomorrow I'll be back. I'll probably have a first look at snowfall accumulations for the Friday forecast as we can really really focus in on that. If you want to give a quick shout out to my patrons, if you want to know what you can get for being a patron and also how it supports my channel, you can follow the link in the description below, which takes you to my Patreon page, which talks about that. Otherwise, thanks for joining me, and I'll be back, like I said, tomorrow morning with an updated look at Friday's storm and a first look at your snowfall map. And then I'll be back on Thursday with more details, certainly, as well. Your weekend forecast will come out on Friday for everybody. Patrons get an early one of those on Wednesday.